another ambitious fundraising target for the Thunder Bay United Way. A new survey looks at what people want in their downtown areas. And concerns raised in Toronto over the validity of thousands of diagnostic scans.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The United Way launched Thunder Bay's biggest annual fundraising campaign at a breakfast this morning.
Over 400 community members attended the event to see just how their generous donations are making an impact in Thunder Bay. And here, United Way officials reveal this year's campaign goal. Tara Allaire reports.
This year's unveiling saw the United Way set an ambitious fundraising goal of $2.7 million. Campaign Chair Walter Flaza says the money raised will fund 64 programs funded by health and human service agencies. He's confident they can reach their fundraising goal and help improve the lives of thousands in the community.
I think it's a very achievable goal. Last year the campaign raised just a little over $2.6 million. We as a campaign team got together and we really tried to assess what we each individually saw as being reasonably achievable in the campaign.
Plaza says the fundraising increase is due to the greater need throughout the community, a need that continues to grow.
The fact of the matter is we fund about half of the requests that we get. So we're not meeting the existing need. So we've got to work harder, I think, to meet just what's out there now, never mind increasing needs.
Jules Tupker says the campaign team has been working for a few months to get the program going. After beating last year's goal by $17,000, he feels they've come up with a number they can raise and the community can support.
We're always hoping to improve our goal, whether it's $70,000 or $1,000, or when I was campaign chair in 2011, I think we beat it by $240. At the end of the day, whatever we collect helps the community, and obviously we'd like to collect as much as we can, and hopefully we can surpass our goal again this year.
Donations are now being accepted for the fall 2013 campaign. A complete listing of the 29 funded agencies, campaign team, and sponsored employees can be found on the United Way's website. Tara Allaire, TBT News.
A day after getting some good news about the Ring of Fire, Cliffs Natural Resources is facing another setback. On Tuesday, the Mining and Lands Commissioner dismissed Cliffs' application for an easement on lands owned by KWG Resources. The two companies had a falling out 3 years ago and still disagree on the mode of transportation for the movement of minerals from the Ring of Fire. But most importantly, the decision causes even more uncertainty about when the project will get underway. Matt Scooby has more.
The battle rages on about whether it will be a road or railway along the corridor to the Ring of Fire. In a 42-page decision, the Mining and Lands Commissioner has determined Cliffs Natural Resources won't be allowed to cross lands staked by KWG Resources in order to build a road. KWG's Mo Levine calls it a victory.
By them building a road, they're interfering with our first business, which is fundamental to our business. So they can't just walk in and take that away from us.
The two companies were partners until 2010, when Cliffs failed to acquire KWG's minority share in a site on the Ring of Fire. Since then, they've been arguing about the subject of transportation. Cliffs Director of Environmental Affairs, Jason Agonis, says they're disappointed by the ruling.
Well, we certainly view this as a roadblock. We look forward to working together with First Nation communities, other partners up in the area, as well as the province, to developing a path forward, but it is a roadblock. There's been other roadblocks with the project that we've successfully overcome.
The issue at hand is the green area that leads to the Ring of Fire from Nakina. It's unique in that it's essentially the only corridor that a transportation line could be built on, and KWG has staked the so-called high ground for a railroad. Levine claims it's 6 times cheaper to transport minerals by rail rather than by road.
By building a road, you're actually eroding economic sustainability. And the last thing you want to do is set up an industry to fail. And this is a brand new industry to Canada. And I think between ourselves and a provincial and a federal government, it is our duty to optimize the economic sustainability of this new industry such that it remains profitable for the next century.
Cliffs has 30 days to appeal the decision, But if they do, the appeal process could take up to 5 years. All Augunists would say is that they're evaluating different options. Meanwhile, Levine adds that KWG isn't changing tactics, but suggests a possible solution to the problem.
To make that road or railroad, put it into a third party that has nothing to do with the mining, and they're simply service providers, and they haul on a tonnage rate.
Matt Scooby, TBT News.
It's an issue that's been a topic of conversation amid local golfers all summer long. The future of Municipal golf course and what that land might be used for come this time next year. City officials admit there has been some interest expressed in purchasing the land, and as Courtney Rutherford reports, potential buyers may want to keep it as a golf course.
Jim Nader has been working on his swing at Municipal golf course since he was a child.
A wonderful place to be, and once it's gone, I think it would be a crying shame because you'll never get it back again.
Nader, along with his friends, are waiting to hear what the future holds when it comes to a course he's played on for decades. After City Council rejected keeping the course open months ago, the future use of the land hangs in the balance. It's anticipated that the property will be declared surplus by city officials and would be sold on the open market shortly after the season comes to an end.
There's some interest in the continuation of the use of the property as a golf course. There's some interest or talk about the residential use of the property. But again, we anticipate a public proposal call, and we'll look at the results at that time.
The property is assessed at just over $1 million. However, that price tag is specific to its use as a golf course. The range of permitted uses under the Oliver Papoon zoning bylaw is very limited. And if it was used for something else, Joel DePuter, manager of Realty Services, says it would have to be looked at very closely. Although he adds this is all in the early stages, lifelong municipal golfers are feeling concerned.
It's a great little course. We have friends that are getting on in life, and this is a great course for older people.
Well, I'd like to see it stay the way it is, as it's a number of seniors are golfing here, and we're always advocating exercise, so this is manageable. It's a nice course, and it's been around with the city for years.
DePuter says they expect the future use and potential sale of the course to be decided over the winter months. Courtney Rutherford, TBT News.
A new survey is being conducted that focuses on what Northern Ontario citizens value in their downtown area and how those areas can play a vital role in the future of the city. The survey, which takes 5 to 10 minutes, asks residents in Thunder Bay and other northern cities a number of questions about the downtown cores. Those include how much perceived support they believe the areas receive from the government, and what features or attractions they would like to see added. The information gathered will be made available to participating municipalities to help the future of the downtown grow.
The other piece of this project is a relationship with the universities in each of the communities, as well as the business improvement areas. So it's a really great opportunity for us all to work together towards a common goal.
The survey can be completed at the website surveymonkey.com.
There were some tense moments in Fort Frances today following the discovery of a threatening note. Rainy River OPP say a bag left behind a local credit union included a note with instructions to fill the bag with money. If the demands were not followed, it said there would be consequences for businesses or schools in the Fort Frances area. As a precaution, local schools were placed under hold and secure mode with exterior doors locked and monitored. The OPP continues to investigate.
A young Thunder Bay man has been sentenced to nearly 2 years in jail after pleading guilty to dangerous driving causing death. 21-year-old Shane Collodi was accused of stealing a truck and causing the accident which killed 67-year-old Martin John Amos. Collodi was arrested on May 20th, 2012 after the truck he was driving crashed into a car driven by Amos. The truck had been reported stolen the day before from an Otto Street residence. Police spotted it on the city's south side and attempted to pull the driver over, but the truck took off and eventually turned off May Street onto Northern Avenue where the collision occurred. Yesterday in provincial court, Collodi pleaded guilty to 4 charges, including theft and possession of stolen property. The judge sentenced him to 2 years less a day in prison. Collodi was also given 3 years probation, and he's prohibited from driving for another 5 years after his release from a correctional center. The Crown had been seeking 3 to 5 years in jail.
Thunder Bay police are looking for an assailant following a stabbing in the May Street area last night. Officers were called just after 9 o'clock with a report that a woman had been injured in an incident near the May and Cameron Street intersection. They arrived to find paramedics treating a 21-year-old woman with a shoulder wound. The victim was later transported to the regional hospital. A search of the area failed to turn up a suspect. Police say they're looking for a Native Canadian female between 20 and 30 years old with shoulder-length black hair.
The Ontario Chamber of Commerce is calling for a rethink of how the province sets minimum wage. The Chamber says any future increases in the minimum wage should be linked to inflation. The group, representing some 60,000 businesses, say there's no clear outline on how the government determines the minimum wage and that its ad hoc process is vague and politicized.
The issue of black bear attacks in Northern Ontario was raised at Queen's Park today. Temiskaming NDP member John Vanthoff says recent M&R decisions to cut back on the trapping of nuisance bears has led to near tragedies across the north.
Over the summer, there have been several near-fatal human bear encounters across the north. Northerners feel abandoned by the ministry and don't even bother reporting problem bears anymore. The ministry is currently in the process of reviewing more effective options, end of quote, for dealing with nuisance bears. Could the minister tell Northerners what those options are?
In fact, we have spent more money than any other jurisdiction in North America on our Bear Wise program, about $34 million to date, helping and assisting communities right across Northern Ontario. But I certainly do acknowledge, with respect to the members' comments, that there are some communities in Northern Ontario that are facing significant challenges around nuisance bears, and we're committed to working with them to find more effective solutions.
Thank you.
The quest to improve water quality along the north shore of Lake Superior continues in Thunder Bay. Last night, members of the local Public Advisory Committee met to discuss Thunder Bay's remedial action plan and tour the lower part of the current river. It's a joint program set up in the late 80s by Environment Canada, the M&R, and the Ontario Ministry of Environment, focused on addressing long-standing water quality issues along the north shore. Of particular concern is the degradation of the local walleye population due to industrial growth near the mouth of the current river. That's according to Advisory Committee co-chair Frank Edgson.
You see in the background here, and the construction of the shipbuilding company many years ago. Those two efforts have degraded some of the habitat out in the main lake. The ministry back in 1991 attempted to reproduce some of that walleye habitat by introducing cobble of varying sizes around the islands here at the mouth.
Edgson says, among other things, he'd like to see further assessment regarding the productivity of existing fish habitats to find out whether more such areas are needed. The next committee meeting is scheduled for November.
Confederation College brought in a stand-up comedian today with a message. James Cunningham made a stop on his Funny Money tour, which brings humor to the subject of personal finance. Funny Money covers everything from the basics of budgeting and debt management to investing. The goal is to first get their attention and then encourage young people to take more interest in their financial future. Cunningham says he hopes to empower youth with the knowledge they need to make good financial choices.
It's important because they're at this age where they're taking their first few steps into financial adulthood. And when I talk to adults and I say this is what I do, every adult says, I wish I had that when I was back in school. So this is actually a really key time in their lives when they're making the biggest financial mistakes, or they can actually make some good decisions. So we try and get them on a path of a good decision and show them there's three very basic, very fundamental things. And I'm a comedian, and we give out some cash, so it tends to be a little bit of fun.
That Funny Money show included a multimedia presentation, audience participation, a dance battle, and yes, as mentioned, cash prizes.
At any given time, approximately 10,000 Canadian children battle cancer, but 29 cyclists are hoping to help reduce that staggering number. They're pedaling across the country as part of the Sears National Kids Cancer Ride. The riders arrived last evening in the local Sears parking lot on their journey from Vancouver to Halifax. This year's team has helped raise $1.5 million for childhood cancer charities. Sears Canada CEO Calvin McDonald joined the riders in Regina. He'll bike to Toronto with the rest of the team. McDonald says even on the worst days, they find strength from affected children and families they meet along the way.
What we're enduring, the discomfort, we've had 6 of the first 7 days were rain, cold. It's nothing in comparison to what these kids have to deal with. So, for us, it's if this is raising awareness, if it's allowed us to do the fundraising, we'll take the pain because it's nothing.
The Sears Ride is in its 6th year. More than $8 million has been raised for children's cancer charities over that time.